All right. Chiromancy 101. We're learning and vlogging at the same time. So let's talk about the three major lines, right? The heart line, the head line, and the lifeline, right? Specifically, we know we got the hand, right? Left or right. Left is typically the things that you've gone through in ancestry or past. You, your genetic, your ancestry as you, a break off of that, the imprint of it, right? It's typically in the left hand. What the nervous system went through already, right? Typically. And what the right hand is what it's currently going to or going toward. Both of those things. Present and present future, right? Because everything is a reflection off of your state. If your state changes, your present future changes because nothing is set, right? Which is a great thing about palmistry. Because unlike the fortune telling that comes out of the biblical script that says, "You damned," right? And that certain things cannot be repaired, right? Which is a lie, because their power is even supposed to be all merciful and has mercy upon who he has mercy. And anyways, bottom line, redemption is up to you. Redeem yourselves, right? Redeem yourselves back to the life you ought to have had, right? And that life being you, functional, happy in a society that hasn't dejected you, right? Because society could always change its mind about you. Because if you change your mind about it, there's some plasticity there. I believe there's a fabric. They call space-time a fabric. Our minds, I believe, are all linked in some way, shape, or form. And their polarities allow you to attract or repel, or gravitate toward, or synchronize with, or, what's the other one? Serendipitize, link up, however it works, right? Magnetize to, gravitate towards, right? Attract, I guess we use that word specifically, right? With palmistry, we're touching on where we were and where we are and where we could end up. And we're getting insights on how we are, being that we believe our nervous system, the planets, the constellations, the relevant ones for our district we're in, play an imprint on how the body is formed. We believe there's some kind of thing with dendritic formations, aka like a lightning. Everything in the body kind of looks like a dendrite lightning, where it goes from thicker to, even the microtubes go from thicker to thinner in a fractal formation. We believe there's some there, right? Sacred geometry and geometry that we use is very similar. We believe there is a creative mind that created it all, right? A infinite mind that created the process for it all to be possible, right? Initiated it. That mighty, ever-present, always present, omnipotent Ayan Sawab, right? It's not nothing, right? But it doesn't have a form like a human, right? But it's not nothing. It's something that exists, right? So let's touch a little bit about the hand, right? The anatomy of the hand, and we'll hit some lines. So the lifeline is the one that's next to the palm, right? This curvy one. So I'm going to write it as here, like this. This curvy one, right? The headline and the heart line. A short lifeline doesn't mean you're going to die early. And we look at the artifacts that are upon it, right? Whether it's a deeper score line, right? Or if it's a light line, or if it has a lot of checks in it. We look for little things like stars and kites and stuff, little formations and crosses and stuff to give indication. There's artifacts we could look for, right? So let's specifically hit the fingers in Paleo Hebrew, right? The thumb, there's two, right? It's it goes back. I went on sleep. I can't remember all the names by heart in Paleo Hebrew. The thumb is Bawahan, Bet, Vav, He, and then the short nun, right? Or Agawadal. It's Aleph, Gimel, Vav, Dalet, Lamed, right? The thumb, right? So in the two spots on the thumb, although they don't give it a planet, the mount under it is the mount of Venus. And we know the will and what's the other thing? Strength and will have to come from it, I think. Strength and will, I can't remember which order. So that's the thumb. Right? Let's go to Mercury, the pinky, right? Which is no, it's Zadath. Zadath. It's Zed, Dalet, Tha, right? The pinky. Zadath, right? Also, Marquaria, but that's Mercury. That's a bastardization. I don't think that's not legit. The ring, right? That one's going to be Apollo, also known as the sun. Shamash, Chama, and Shamash would probably be Paleo Hebrew for that. The finger name is Kwam Yataza. Kwam Yataza in Paleo Hebrew. So that's Kof, Mem, Yod, Tisday, He, right? The Saturn finger is the middle finger, right? That one's going to be Aleph, Mem, He, Ama, right? And the word for Saturn is Shabbathaya. Ama is the middle finger's name in Hebrew. Well, Paleo Hebrew, right? The index, Jupiter. Tazadak means Jupiter. It also means righteous, right? Anyways. Tazadak, you're Jupiter. Anyways. Atazabai is the index. Atazabai also has to do with Tazabawatha kind of thing. Similar words. Has to do with Saturn. That's weird. Palmistries have been around forever, guys. It was originally considered not a negative thing. Not like it and religion were together for a long time. And the zodiac. It's even in the scriptures. You can find them. You hear the Pleiades, you hear about the belt of Orion, you hear about all the things they used to navigate with, right? All the things they used to tell the times and seasons, right? But then in later scriptures deject them. But also agree with them in the New Testament. It just doesn't make sense to me, guys. The reality is the only thing that's real is the stuff you can see. What you see is what you get, guys. What you don't see, well, unless you can manifest it, right? Because there's things that aren't here yet that can be made. But unless we're manifesting or we're creating something, and we're in the creative process, this is something to think about. The creative process could be a working process. They could have shook the Etch-a-Sketch a bunch of different times, and we're just looking at failed systems that were set up, and you're like, we got too far along with that. We just got to shake it all up, and there's not enough of that information to have to get to that point ever again, so let's just start over. I reckon that's what's going on. Maybe we're at that point again. We're going to go to a golden age. We're going to lose all this low vibrational technology and move to something better. We hope for that. Y'all have a great rest of your day, beloved. Another mini vlog.